Hi, this is Karen Jackson. I am going to be talking about the training that I have designed for my company and for my department, which is the payroll department. I work for an architectural firm in downtown Chicago, Perkins and Will, and I am the payroll specialist. It's just two people in this department, myself and my supervisor. My supervisor has never led or supervised anyone before, and it has created sort of a hostile environment. But it's something that, I am working through because I do understand that the stress of the job sometimes it will come across, and some things will be directed towards me, and I'm learning how not to take those things personal. But I do hope that in designing this training, I can present some things to my supervisor so that we can have a better working relationship. This person is a dynamic individual. They know what they're doing, and it's just amazing to see them work. It's sad though that I'm not involved in a lot of things that I should be involved in, but it's gonna all work itself out. So the training that I've designed is focused around leadership. Initially, the problem that I found was communication, but there was so much more to the problem and the issues. There were underlying problems, and it dawned on me that leadership is one of the things that was a problem. What the training that I have designed, and that's in progress rather. Of course, if this were a real training, I'd have a group of people, my supervisor included, and we would talk about leadership styles, uh, delegating tasks, communicating, and how it's key, and performance management. This training, we will discuss leadership and what leadership means to the individuals in the training group. I believe that a good leader, is one that is a champion, one that is motivational, one that is inspirational, a natural born leader, I suppose. And I'm not sure if there it really is such a thing, or if people just have sometimes a way of communicating that just transcends all ages, genders, and learning types. Some people are just natural at what they do, and some people have to learn how to be in roles of leadership. I think what is key and what is important is communication. If you don't know how to communicate, you can't delegate properly the tasks that need to be done. And so, in this training, we're going to talk about delegating tasks and how not to hold all of the work to yourself as one in authority or one in leadership. As a leader, you can't do all the work by yourself. And that is a situation that I'm going through right now because my supervisor has had to do so much, the majority of the work by herself. She was a payroll specialist, and she's had managers over her, and they've all quit, not because of her, but for various situations. It just worked out that way. And the last person in the position just ended up leaving. And so I stepped into the position and have learned quite a bit, but there's so much more for me to learn and for me to do. Also, in communicating the tasks and delegating, you have to trust that what you're saying is good enough for for your team member to accomplish. And if not, then schedule meetings and talk about different deadlines. So in a group setting, um, in a training class, I will present four different leadership styles. Outside of these leadership styles, there are more, and I encourage the trainees to look up other leadership styles, bring them back to class so that we can have a discussion. One of the leadership styles is transformational leadership. And this is an individual that wants to come in and just transform their department and make changes. And it's good sometimes because change is good, but change is also hard. And I believe that you have to ease into things. And sometimes you may not have time to really ease in. Sometimes you may get a directive from your manager to come in and make that change, whatever that is. However, there is time, I believe, to set aside and talk with each team member to find out what duties they're doing and what procedures are already in place. So a complete change may not be necessary. Another type of leadership style is servant leadership. And this is an individual that believes in serving first and being a leader second. So this individual is very hands-on, they're communicative, they want to participate, and they want to be a team player. And by being this type of leader, it also shows that they consider themselves part of the team. And so there is no I in team for them. Everything is we. And I think that it's a wonderful style to possess. Another type of leadership style is democratic leadership. This type of leadership is collaborative. They want the entire team to participate, give their inputs, give their suggestions and opinions. And when it's time to make decisions, the whole team is involved. This is also a great type of leadership. And lastly, another type of leadership is autocratic leadership. And this is the type of leader that comes in and it's their way or no way at all. They don't want to hear your opinions and your suggestions. And any decisions are made, they're going to make it, whether you agree with them or not. And sometimes decisions will be made and you won't even be aware of it. We're going to talk about that and probably do some type of role play where someone will take on that type of leadership style and present it to the group. And I want you to, in taking on this type of whoever will take on this type of leadership style, I want this individual to really play this role, and I want the group to give great feedback on it. If you are in a position of leadership at your job, you may find that you need to tweak your style. You may need to revamp your style altogether, or you may just want to add to what you're already doing. But also in being a good leader, you also need to be okay with receiving feedback, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. Hopefully the feedback that you get will be respectful, because one thing is, we're all individuals and we're all working towards a common goal. So you want to respect the people that you work for. Whether you like them or not, you have to come across respectfully. And you can disagree and respectfully disagree. You also need to understand that being a good leader means also being authentic in your leadership. Sometimes leaders are put on pedestals, I believe, and they're looked at as superheroes, or they put on that cloak of being a superhero. And being that type of leader, that individual doesn't understand that they are not making these accomplishments and achieving these goals on their own. It takes a team to accomplish what needs to be accomplished sometimes, particularly when you're working on projects. Again, I can't stress enough that communication is key. And so in this training, we will in groups communicate and possibly over communicate and give feedback on how you feel about over communication or under communicating, because there is such a thing as under communicating as well, and just not communicating at all. That's not a good thing. Performance reviews, that will be discussed. Performance management rather, and how performance reviews will be done. Again, I keep saying communicating, but if you're going to lead, you have to communicate with your team individually, because you will be doing individual reviews. You have to let them know whether or not they're on task, what needs to be changed, Maybe there are some duties that need to be taken away, and maybe there was just a lack of understanding of what was expected. And that's when these reviews are key and should be done. And that's the time for that, to discuss what's going on, with the job. There could be some things that are personal. And so a good leader is also empathetic. They may not understand because they're not in that person's shoes, but they can at least be a little empathetic to what's going on. So these are just some of the things that will be discussed in the beginning of the training, and I look forward to continuing more training and designing this class as over the next couple of weeks. Thank you.